Halloween, everybody, and welcome to the Friday Vibe Show right here on Optimus Fantasy, coming to you every Friday, late afternoon, early evening throughout the NFL and fantasy football season. I am your host, filling in for Nate Palvo tonight, not dressed as Nate, but dressed as Luigi instead, Evan Sather. With me is Keith Flemming, dressed as, I haven't watched enough Rick and Morty, but I'm guessing that's Rick.
Rub-a-dub-dub-dub. Yep, that's it.
And then what's the pup dressed as? A specific sheriff?
He's just a sheriff. He's the new sheriff in town. Some people are saying he's Rick from The Walking Dead. I'm okay with that. He's over the hat. We got to take that off. But our other dog is Super Dog. She looks great as well. Happy Halloween, buddy.
Happy Halloween. I don't have a mansion. I'm not in one, and I haven't seen any ghosts yet, but I'm ready just in case I have to take care of some ghosts, but we'll see as the show goes on. So it's good to see that you've at least got a Rick and Morty thing going on, even if it's unofficial.
Of course. It's one of my favorite shows. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. It's amazing.
I have a Nintendo Switch too, and I saw that Luigi's Mansion, every single Luigi's Mansion got put available for play if you get a subscription. I forgot the name of the service they have, but you can even play the original from the GameCube, and I don't know if there's another one coming up, but I don't have a lot of time for games anymore, but I mean, that's exciting to me. But I don't know if you guys are necessarily here for that. I'm sure you guys want to talk fantasy football as well, so there's a lot to cover tonight too, and it gets a bit iffy going into week 8, and now we're in week 9, and almost in the double-digit weeks already. It goes by so fast. So we're going to get Brock Bowers back this week. If you were holding him at tight end, good for you guys, because that Raiders offense needs a lot of help.
He is going to remind everyone why he is the best tight end in football. No disrespect to Tyler Warren and, Tucker Kraft mac and cheese, as my girl Stacey Perez says, but they're going to be reminded. Like, Bowers is a 101, a true unicorn. You saw it, right? He went out, had 5 catches for 103 yards in basically 3.5 quarters in the opener, and he messed up his knee. And he tried to play through it because that's the kind of guy he is, and finally had to shut it down. He's had a full month off. He has said he's 100%. The coaching staff has said he's 100%. And I can't wait for it, because even when he was running around on one leg, he still saw 19 targets, I think caught 14 passes. And what's wild is, despite missing 3 games, he still is third on the Raiders in targets and reception. So he is going to be a volume monster. It's an amazing matchup right out of the gates. I think I had that. Let's see here. Yeah. The Jags allowed 20 receptions, 291 yards, and 3 touchdowns to opposing tight ends over their last 4 games. I expect Brock Bowers to come back and feast immediately.
Jeez, yeah, and that's not even covering for the fact that Travis Hunter is now expected to sit for a while. I think they just put him on IR today, if I'm not mistaken.
Hello, Parker Washington.
Yeah, that's it's Parker Washington season in Jacksonville. So, but I mean, even then, I don't think Travis Hunter was getting enough meaningful cornerback reps to be worthwhile to even be defending these tight ends. I mean, usually that starts in the middle before either them or the safeties have to go get them. But yeah, the Jaguars have not really defended the tight end well this season. I mean, but despite that, I mean, the Jaguars defense is not too shabby anymore. I mean, but my frame of reference for them is not exactly high either. I mean, they were absolute garbage these last several weeks, but coming up against the Raiders, it'll be an interesting game.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Jacksonville to win, because one of the things I was very wrong about this summer was I thought the Raiders were going to be frisky. Like, I like the addition of Genty. I thought that Pete Carroll could still coach, and I have real questions now if that's the case, because their defense is actually statistically worse than it was last year. Obviously, it's not fair to really judge their offense with Bowers not being available. Because don't forget, this team beat the New England Patriots, who have not lost since week 1. So,
Right.
maybe they get it going, but I just, again, I'm so excited for Bowers. Again, full discretion, I'm a UGA fan, but I was screaming from the mountaintops all 2 summers ago that this guy is legit. I said he'd be the number 1 tight end in Dynasty heading this year, which he was. And I thought he had a chance to be the number 1 tight end in football immediately. Again, he was. And that was with like Aiden O'Connell, Desmond Ritter, whatever you think of Geno Smith, he is an upgrade compared to that. And just wait, though, until Bowers gets an actual quarterback, which eventually I hope the Raiders could do that.
For sure. I mean, it's a bit messy with the Geno Smith is not exactly flourishing in this offense, and he could easily be benched for Aiden O'Connell if things got really, really bad. I don't see it happening at any point soon, but nevertheless, if you folks have Brock Bowers on your teams, fire him up. He is ready to eat again on this struggling offense. Jacoby Myers has been hurt too, but I don't know if the Raiders are actually going to trade Myers. It's not like they have a lot of great other weapons aside from Ashton Genty.
I do like Trey Tucker a good bit. I know he's been kind of boom or bust, but I just think with Bowers is going to be sort of the Rashee Rice, I think, of that passing game, where he's going to be sort of an extension of the run game. I really do think it's going to open up stuff for Genty. Obviously, defenses are going to have to, probably double him overall. That means Trey Tucker, Jacoby Myers, like everything should get a little bit easier. And this is a good opportunity. Like Jacksonville is another one of those teams that sort of relied on turnovers. Otherwise, from a metric standpoint, not a great defense. And I see Clevis has already asked a question, then set the question marks after that. We will get to it in just a second. I promise, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, we were just finishing up talking about Brock Bowers here, and let's start getting to some comments here as they're starting to fly in here. Let's start with Casey's father, Doug. What's up, guys? Great costumes. Happy Halloween. Thank you, sir. I'm glad we got to go live tonight, especially for those who might not have to take kids out for trick or treating or whatever, which is pretty much what Nate is doing right now. Stuff like that. Always happy to work with great talent in Casey as well. We love her here. So let's also get to Dontet me bro. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Stafford or Caleb Williams this week. So Keith, I don't think you can go wrong with either quarterback this week, as they have extremely juicy matchups on paper. I think they're both top 10 quarterbacks this week. I have Caleb at 5 and Stafford at 9. What say you, Keith?
I can't trust Caleb Williams right now. And again, you're absolutely right. This is the dream for an offense that is struggling and a quarterback that's struggling. Don't forget, the Jets were, I think, the worst offense in football. And then they went out and scored 39 points and had over 500 total yards of offense. So the Bengals defense was real bad. But I have a hard time trusting Caleb, even in this situation, especially all the receivers are banged up. I think you're going to see a monster day. And again, another DFS DraftKings gift from the gods. DeAndre Swift is out. How do you say Kyle's last name? Is it Monagay? Kyle
Monangai.
Thank you. Again, Country Bumpkin, apologize. He is such a good matchup, because this Bengals run defense is like historically bad. They're allowing 150 yards on the game, but just in the last 3 weeks, starting running backs, 441 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. So I think, and again, Ben Johnson is elite at setting up the run game. It's why the Bears right now went from last year, one of the worst average yards before contact among their running backs, to this year, one of the best in terms of yards before contact. So I think he's going to feast. And, with Stafford, I think that he's going to have to throw the ball in their matchup. The the run game's kind of struggling again. Like Kyron Williams does not look great. So I would lean Stafford, especially getting Puka back. So now you're going to have Puka and Devontae Adams again. And we saw how good that passing game was at the beginning.
Yeah, I kind of see your point as well, getting that Stafford getting Puka Nacua back. That's a big to get back. In case you all haven't seen the Bears injury report, they will be without Luther Burden, Roshan Johnson, and DeAndre
concussion,
Swift.
Right? He's still in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Burden is, yeah.
Unfortunately, Burden is in the concussion protocol, but he didn't have a big role in this offense quite yet. He's still building that up. The Bears will have DJ Moore, Romo Dunze, and Olamide Zaccheaus, so they all practice in full on today, Friday. They will be expected to play. They should be okay. Cole Kmet also practice in full. He'll be back. So I'm not as worried about Caleb Williams having less than his starting weapons, but having to roll with a Kyle Monangai as your running back, I'm not worried about that, being that the Bengals defense just A, cannot stop the run, and B, Monangai has been super impressive this year too, which is going to help open up the pass game. But like I said, you really can't go wrong, Stafford or Caleb, this week. I have them both in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb, again, has a great opportunity to get back on track. So it's just hard for me to start him right now with his recent performances. I can trust Stafford with Puka and Devontae Adams on the field. Like we saw it before Puka got hurt. That passing offense was elite.
So as Don't At Me Bro just mentioned, as we answered their question, if Kyle Monangai is on waivers and you need a running back, absolutely go get him if he's still on waivers. You absolutely need to have him on your bench. If you don't have to start him, good for you. But if he is absolutely an RB2 play.
441 yards and 4 touchdowns, unless you have like elite running backs, like say you have like Jonathan Taylor and Kamani Vidal or something. Yes, I would play. He just asked him over Monty. Absolutely. Like not even a question. Because he just, again, unbelievable matchup. And Tyler Homer is their other running back with Roshan Johnson out. So I expect him to get a majority of the carries. I also, don't forget Flacco dealing with his issues with his throwing arm. So even if he goes, I'm concerned that the Bengals passing attack's not going to be as good, which means, again, Bears up, heavy run game volume. So I do. Is he mean T. Higgins, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I think I'd still play Monangai over T. Higgins because
I would. Have you seen Higgins' target share with Flacco? All the way down to 16%. I know he scored double digits each of the last 3 weeks, but like last week, the one for that 44-yard touchdown, he wouldn't have gotten anything. So, I do. I think it's one of the greatest matchups you can get for your first official start. And I appreciate Jamie saying in a way that my country ass can now say it moving forward, moaning guy. Like I can say that. That's close.
Close enough. We'll go with that. Anyway, Don't At Me Bro, thank you for the great questions. Let's get to Clevis210 on Twitch. Pick 2, Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., and Nico Collins. First of all, Nico should absolutely be back in your starting lineups because he is a wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside.
Oh, I think he's still wide receiver 1. I think that's a fair comment. Like, it's still getting going.
But until further notice, I think you have to try Marvin Harrison Jr. over Brian Thomas Jr., being that Trevor Lawrence, just for whatever reason, is struggling to get the ball in the hands of BTJ. I don't get it, but it's just what they have. Both the Jaguars and the Cardinals both have quarterbacks that are not exactly good at throwing the football. But if I'm going to bet on anybody, it's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. What do you think, Keith?
Well, don't forget also BTJ is banged up. Last week he was coming in and out of the lineup as the game goes. I will say, though, that if Jacoby Brissett starts over Kyler Murray, I would end up going with BTJ and Collins. If Kyler Murray is back, I agree with you. Like, I'd go Harrison, with Nico Collins. Harrison's numbers have not been good with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett has unlocked and unleashed. Is that official that Jacoby is starting? That's what Cleveland just said. If that is true, then I would probably roll the dice with BTJ. But I will say again, to your point, don't forget who the Cardinals are playing. The gift that keeps on giving, which is the Dallas Cowboys, who both have the ability to score a ton of points, putting their opponents in obviously heavy throw scripts. And also, they're just really bad at defending the pass. So it's close, but I do agree with Hunter being out. You would have to assume BTJ is going to get a monster volume when he's on the field. And it's not a brutal matchup, for him. It's better than the Cowboys, because again, the Cowboys are like one of the worst in the league. But I do think that he's going to get more volume than Marvin Harrison would.
I think that's fair. I think it's pretty close anyway.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah, because, Kyler Murray is expected to be back at quarterback, but he did have a limited practice on Friday with the foot injury. So Kyler Murray could be a game-time decision that could lead to another Jacoby Brissett start, which would be still a good upgrade for that offense, as I can't stand Kyler Murray's arm. And the Raiders can't defend the pass either, but with the Cowboys being the gift that keeps on giving, I don't know. I think it's close between those two. You may have to flip a coin, Clevis.
Is Trey Benson coming back? Is that official this week?
He is expected to come back, but right now he's still on IR. He hasn't come off of it yet. So,
and we were mentioning free agent pickups again. Parker Washington is somebody, if he's out there, go ahead and pick up. We've seen in Jacksonville before, when their top receivers get banged up, he gets a ton of volume. He's going to be sort of a Wan'Dale Robinson, Chris Olave, PPR cheat code, particularly in PPR formats. And just to kind of prove that, last week with Brian Thomas going in and out of the game, Hunter obviously getting banged up, he saw 10 targets. And it would not shock me at all if he's seeing 6 to 10 targets week in and week out. And there's rarely guys on waivers that you can pick up, with those kind of, that kind of volume.
Yeah, and this is definitely Parker Washington season, even if he gets 10 targets and only catches 4 of them, because Trevor Lawrence is just not a very good thrower. But it is Parker Washington season. Keep an eye on him on the waiver wire in case he has another breakout game. Or, if you're desperate at wide receiver, go ahead and get him now and just stash him and hope for the best.
That's what I did. So, I picked him up in a ton of leagues today because he's available in most.
Clevis, we wish you the best with that. Let's move on here to Jamie Perogue's question. How do we know it's not De'Ami Brown over Parker Washington? I think that's a fair transitional question to ask, too, because De'Ami Brown is good to go in Week 9. He was a little banged up, too, with a shoulder issue, but his volume is typically all over the place because he's more of I see him as more of a deep threat wide receiver specialist and returner versus a consistent wide receiver that can excel the way Parker Washington can in the shorter game. Do you have an opinion on that either way, Keith?
Yeah, I was trying to real quickly look up the numbers to make sure I'm not talking out my booty, but Lawrence, the issue is he's not very good throwing the ball down. Yeah, there you go. His deep ball completion percentage is 32%. That ranks 26 among quarterbacks. So that's my issue, is the fact that, again, the reason De'Ami Brown was a supernova last year, Jaden Daniels was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL at pushing the ball down the field. I actually think De'Ami Brown's a pretty good wide receiver. And Washington, I'm kind of surprised that they let him go. And boy, could they use him with, how the way of McLaurin and freaking Debo are either banged up or miss every game this year. But that's my concern. And Parker Washington, again, is like that Wan'Dale Robinson type guy, PPR cheat code. Don't forget, Brenton Strange is, also on IR, I believe, done for the season. And that was kind of what he was early this year, right? Like the underneath short passing guy. And he was, 6-7 receptions, it seemed like, most weeks. So I just think Washington's going to be a much safer play. If you want to play De'Ami in like DFS, I think that, that can make sense, especially in GPP lineups.
Sorry, Keith, you just said 6-7. I got to do it. The kids are doing it, man. I got to do it too. But yeah, at the same time, you said a 37% deep ball completion from, or is that 30? What was that percentage again?
32%.
As Luigi would say when he gets hurt, ow, 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 ow. That's a painful percentage. Good
Sam
Lord.
Darnold's, by the way, is almost 80%. Drake May is
Woo!
completing 65% of his deep balls, and then you have Trevor Lawrence completing 32.
Oh my goodness, Jesus. Well, before it hurts anymore, let's move on to the next question here. Albert Medokin 602. Kimani Vidal, Kyle Monangai, or Tyrone Tracy, pick 2. I think it's easily Kimani Vidal and Kyle Monangai. I do not like Tyrone Tracy. He is not a good running back. I don't like that tough front line he's going to have to face against the 49ers coming up. The Niners defense is still very beatable, but Tyrone Tracy ain't it, Chief. I think it's the first 2. What do you think, Keith?
Yeah, completely agree. You could argue that the Bengals and Titans are the 2 worst run defenses in the NFL. The Titans allow 4.9 yards per carry. They've already allowed 14 rushing touchdowns this season. Vidal is somebody who scored 22 points or more in 2 of his last 3. And the added benefit of the Titans offense is bad as well. Again, game scripts matter. I expect the Chargers to be up. That's going to probably mean even more rush attempts for Dahl. So, and like Tracy, I think he's like, if for some reason Tyrone Tracy's out there, I doubt he is, go pick him up. I agree with you. I don't think he's a great back, but volume matters. And we've seen that in the last 2 weeks, even before the Scadaboo injury, he was getting 87% of the rush attempts that were not Scadaboo. So he is going to get a ton of volume. Don't forget, he was also a wide receiver in college, so he has the ability to catch passes. He's somebody definitely hold on to, but I completely agree with you on the 2 there.
Yeah, I don't think much more needs to be said. It's easily Vidal and Monangai. Go ahead and fire them up, Albert. Thank you for the question, too. Let's get to Doug Royer's question here. Caleb Williams or Jackson Dart this weekend? I have Caleb higher than Jackson Dart. I still have Caleb at quarterback 5. Jackson Dart, I have at quarterback 13 against the Niners. With the rushing upside, I think that will help because I think he's going to have to run for his life against a toughly coached Robert Saleh San Francisco defense that has a lot of injuries, but is still getting it done. What do you think, Keith?
I kind of disagree with you here. Like and again, for this question, absolutely, I would go Jackson Dart. But I mean, I think Jackson Dart right now is probably the 7th or 8th QB I would want moving forward. He's had 5 starts. He scored 18.6 points or more in all 5. He's averaging 22 points per game in the games that he started. And like, for instance, on DraftKings, I think he's 5,900 this week. There's only 4 QBs on the slate that are averaging more points per game. And what is tricking to people is a lot of sites are listing the 2 games that he only played a handful of snaps early in the season. And that's the only reason he's averaging like 14 points per game in most formats. And to your point about the floor, it is increasingly like, he reminds me again of Bo Nix, Jalen Hurts. He's averaging 8.5 points per game just with his legs. And he's actually been better throwing the ball than I expected. The Niners, again, like, yes, they have done a good job of holding it together, but no Fred Warner, right? They've already lost Bosa for the year. Like, I don't think they're an elite defense. And I think you're going to see Dart actually run even more rest of season and get more carries inside the red zone than his 3.5 he was already getting anyway. With the Scadaboo injury. So, or, being lost for the season. So, like, I love Dart rest of the year. Again, reminds me so much of Bo Nix, who was a guy that we kind of all kept questioning, like, was he a good fantasy option last year? Should we pick him up? And he ended up the season QB8 for a very similar reason, where Bo Nix was just consistently getting 6 to 10 points in the run game. And then if he has a good passing game, 20 points.
Right. So falling into the end zone and chucking the ball into the end zone are I mean, needless to say, the keys for a Jackson Dart to excel. I think at least one of those things will happen for Jackson Dart, but I would not be surprised if he does not crack 20 fantasy points, being that this is going to be a tougher matchup, just like the Eagles were, which he still did a pretty good job with his feet. He fell in the end zone at least once, which gave him an easy 6 points, but without that, that's 13.42 points, which is just, lower end QB2 value. So that's why I got to stick with Caleb here, but I mean, Jackson Dart is still in my top 15, so I guess we'll have to see what happens. So let's get to Jason Ortiz 3140. He fired quite a few questions at us, so we'll see if we can lightning round this in a way. So starting 3, one must be a wide receiver: Marvin Harrison, Cortland Sutton, Tyrone Tracy, or Rico Dowdle. I think it's easily Harrison, Sutton, and Dowdle. I have no faith in Tracy.
Cortland Sutton, I can't play this week just because of the Texans. Like, I think it's the best defense in the NFL. It's concerning to me that Franklin is consistently now getting equal volume, and in most cases, even more than Sutton. And I think the Texans are going to roll. I really do. I think that they're going to not only win that game, but really shut down Denver's offense. Texans have, I believe it's multiple sacks in every game but one this year. They forced 7 turnovers in just their last 3 games. They have a very good secondary. So I would probably go Harrison, Tracy, and Dowdle, which, fingers crossed, people, from what the Panthers are saying, they're finally going to say, okay, we're going to give the ball predominantly to the much better back this season. So if that is the case, even in a tough matchup, I love Rico Dowdle, not only this week, but moving forward. And again, I think that the Giants are going to move the ball more than people think. The good thing about the Giants, they're kind of like the Cowboys, just such a bad defense that I expect the 49ers to kind of score, at will, which that's very good for the offense, because obviously that means they're going to be in a chuck it situation, which is pretty good for Tyrone Tracy. Again, he was a wide receiver in college, and also just means that they're going to probably get some garbage, red zone opportunities, and maybe he falls in the end zone too.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's keep going here with Jason's question. So start 1 tight end this week and/or rest of season. Hunter Henry, Juwan Johnson, Noah Fant, Zach Ertz, and Theo Johnson. I think Zach Ertz is your best. Well, actually, I'm going to go Juwan Johnson over here, who I think is going to get the most consistent volume. Yeah, I mean, Tyler Shook, a rookie quarterback easily wants to go with the safety blanket in a Juwan Johnson, who has a pretty good set of hands. Zach Ertz is a close second for me, and then Hunter Henry is third. I think Juwan Johnson is probably going to be your best bet at tight end rest of season. I do not like Noah Fant or Theo Johnson.
I would probably rest of season say Hunter Henry. I don't like his matchup this week, but I just think the Patriots offense is great. Drake May is, obviously throwing 2-3 touchdowns every week. And Ertz is interesting too, just because I think the more that we see of Jaden Daniels, we know how big of a season Ertz had last year, not to mention, all the injuries with their wide receiver core. But I would not sleep on Theo Johnson, particularly this week if Daniel Bellinger misses the game, which he has not practiced yet this week. 25% of Dart's pass attempts thus far in his career have gone to tight ends. And I think tight ends are averaging 18.4 points because both Bellinger and Johnson have, kind of both had some good games during the Darts 5 start. So he is somebody that I think is very intriguing, again, especially this week if Bellinger's out and he's going to get all the volume. I just said I expect the Niners to score, Giants be down, a lot of passing. I like all of those tight ends except for Fant. Come on. Like, Jamar Chase has got 54 targets the last 3 weeks. Like, I don't want anybody in the Bengals passing offense except for Chase at this point.
Flacco loves Jamar Chase. I don't blame him. He's got the best set of hands in football right now.
Yep. But
let's
give
move
Flacco
on here.
Credit too. 45 of his 54 pass attempts to Chase have been deemed catchable targets. So I think that, again, Flacco deserves some credit too.
Absolutely. He's been accurate. That's about the best thing about his game at this point is that arm, which is true for pretty much every
Let's hope that,
old
again, that
quarterback.
injury doesn't hurt him, because I think it's his elbow and his throwing arm that's
It's an
bothering him.
AC joint sprain in his shoulder, which could leave him out against the Bears. It could be Jake Browning again, but we'll see. Any case, so start one, Kamara, Rico, Jalen Warren, or DJ Moore. I think it's got to be Rico Dowdle if he's really going to get the lion's share of the carries with how explosive he's been in this Panthers offense. I think it's got to be him with Jalen Warren being a close second.
Completely agree. I'm fascinated to see, though, Kamara with the new QB. Like, do we get back to the Kamara we saw in previous years? It was like, I think, a 19% target share or higher every year the last 6 years. His target share this year is 9.8%. So if that changes, Kamara could be somebody that's a big benefactor rest of the season, but I do not trust him at all this week. Completely agree with that.
I just do not like how Kellen Moore is using Alvin Kamara, acting like he can't do it anymore. I don't get it either. I mean, Kamara's obviously not the same running back he was like 5 years ago, but he can still produce if you give it to him. So I don't know what Kellen Moore's doing down there, but anyway. Yeah, I think you got to go Rico here for that, Jason. So start one this week and or rest of season, also from Jason. Zach Ertz, Fant, Theo, I got Dart, TJ Hawkinson, Dalton Schultz, Evan Ingram. I think we kind of covered this for the most part. Out of this bunch, I think it's gotta be Zach Ertz out of this bunch.
Yeah, I mean, McLaurin's already been ruled out. And I know Seattle is a very difficult matchup, but I mean, again, volume is king. And I think that's who's going to see by far the most volume.
Easily. All right, so last one from Jason Ortiz. Start one, Alvin Kamara, Rico Dowdle already starting, Tet, Kyle Monangai, and then start to flex the other two running backs, or Khalil Shakir or Wan'Dale Robinson. Jason, these are getting increasingly more difficult, and I am here for it. So, yeah, I think Rico's the guy. I think you can flex Monangai and Wan'Dale Robinson because I think he's going to see the lion's share of the targets against that tough Niners defense.
So how many are we starting?
So it looks like he wants a running back and then two flex.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm with you with the two running backs. And then I think I might actually go Shakir. He's been really seeing volume. Like, he has kind of established himself as Josh Allen's favorite target. And I know the Bills want to run the ball. That is their goal every week. It's going to be tough to do that this week. Even as great as James Cook, has been, even as good as Josh Allen, obviously, is with his legs, I think they're going to have to throw. That's good news for Khalil Shakir. So I'll go Shakir and the two backs that you mentioned.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure I completely agree because the Buffalo Bills like to go with the tight end over just any of the wide receivers. Usually it's whoever's open, they just get it to. They love Shakir, don't get me wrong, but I think the Carolina game also threw us off because they were just up by so much and it just didn't matter at that point. But Jason, thank you for the questions. We definitely appreciate it. Let's get to Odie Black Tip on Twitch. Need to start two. Watson, which I'm guessing is Christian Watson.
Make sure to check his availability. I know that he's questionable right now.
Yeah, so Pierce, which Pierce is
Alec,
this? Not
probably.
Alec Pierce, yeah. Parker Washington, and then either stream Barner and drop Hawkinson for this week only. Already have Goddard. I think this is Watson and Parker Washington, and I think I don't know if I would drop Hawkinson for Barner, being that AJ Barner doesn't get enough consistent volume in this offense anyway. He is seeing enough snaps, but he's not really doing that much better than TJ Hawkinson with how messy the Vikings offense kind of is.
Maybe the change to McCarthy, right? Hopefully gets, you just mentioned, typically these young quarterbacks target tight end. So I would not drop him yet because, again, we could see the Hawkinson of old with, the change at quarterback. I'm going to go Washington and Pierce. The Steelers are the worst defense in the NFL, basically against the pass. Both, receivers are sort of in the same situation, which they're, kind of very boom or bust. And I just think that Pierce has got, again, the dream matchup. The Steelers just, God, they're so bad against the pass. I don't understand it. Like, that's a team that was known for forever, for, being very good against the pass and the run. And this defense is freaking awful. And then again, you have the benefit of the Colts defense ain't great either. So I expect the Steelers to score points as well. The weather's going to be nice, which is the one concern I had about Indy. But the Colts right now are almost averaging 4 points per possession, the most this century. It is insane. And the Steelers are, like, I think Jonathan Taylor has a great chance to have a big game, but they're definitely worse against the pass than they are the run. So I expect it to be where they have to throw a little bit to kind of open up the run for Jonathan Taylor. And maybe Pierce, catches like a 40-yard touchdown, which he is very known for doing.
Odie Blacktip also mentions the only other choice that they have to make is to either flex Kareem Hunt, Aaron Jones Sr., or Bam Knight. Definitely leaning Hunt.
They ruled Pacheco out. Buffalo.
Yeah, Pacheco is
the run. I like Hunt this week a lot.
I don't really like, Hunt's going to see more volume, but this is a running back by committee that I want no part of. Hunt's going to get more work. If he falls in the end zone, you're thrilled because he did that twice against the Commanders in week 8. But against the Bills defense, which is known for screwing up against the run, I think it could end well for Hunt, but it remains to be seen how many snaps he's going to get, because does this mean more work for Brashard Smith? Because he's still kind of in the way of an older Hunt. And Bam Knight is not exactly somebody I want to start either.
So from a rush standpoint, though, Smith has really only seen volume when it's a blowout situation. Like the one game where he got a bunch of carries was the Raiders game, and I believe almost all of those but one came in the fourth quarter. I think they're going to be using Smith in the passing game a lot this week, because that is something Buffalo has struggled. Buffalo actually is a very good pass defense. They're good versus receivers, but you can really run on the Bills. And I think that, again, like Buffalo has been good versus the pass. They're going to, I think, get Kareem Hunt going. And the main thing is just what you were saying. He's going to get every carry inside the 5. The Chiefs do not mess around with QB sneaking and doing the stuff that a lot of these teams do with Patrick Mahomes, because they're smart. They don't want to get him hurt. So I think it's a great chance he has a touchdown. And if there's any team that he could actually have a decent, rushing opportunity, it's this week versus the Bills.
Yeah, that's a very possible situation, which makes it tempting to do it. But yeah, I think I don't want to trust Aaron Jones anymore, and I definitely don't want to trust Bam Knight, even against a weak Cowboys defense. I think Hunt has to be the move by default here. So let's keep moving forward here with Bronze on YouTube. Trade DeAndre Swift and Daniel Jones for Bucky Irving. Gonna try an offer of Dowdle and Daniel Jones first, but not sure he's taking that. I don't think you need to trade for Bucky Irving with the pieces that you've got on this team. DeAndre Swift does have the groin injury, but the Bears like him so much that he's not losing his job to Kyle Monangai this season. They're going to still roll with him. And if you already have Rico Dowdle and Daniel Jones, I don't know how many quarterbacks you have on your roster at this point, but if you already have 2 and this is a 1-quarterback league, yeah, you could absolutely trade one of them. But I don't know. I don't think you have to trade for Bucky here. What do you think?
Unless you have Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Drake May as your other quarterbacks, I don't think there's any other quarterbacks that I would rather have rest of the season. I used to include Baker Mayfield in that, but I just think the receiver injuries have caught up, to that Tampa offense. And my one concern, like I actually was fading Bucky where he has Allen and Lamar.
That's amazing.
I would still keep DJ, because we've seen with Lamar, he can get banged up. And to your point, like I think the combination of Rico Dowdle and DeAndre Swift is actually greater than Bucky Irving rest of season, especially when, like, my concerns with him this year was just where he was drafting. can he handle a full workload, right? Because he was banged up a lot just for I think the 6 games or 7 games last year that he became, their bell cow. And he's already, right, like got injured to where he's missed multiple games. And Rico Dowdle, if they give him the reins, has been one of the best running backs in football. And it sounds like Carolina is ready to go all in on that. Like, I think Dowdle could potentially outscore Bucky Irvin just straight up rest of the year. And then DeAndre Swift, again, has been really good because Ben Johnson, elite play caller at establishing the run. And we've kind of seen that.
Yeah. So I don't blame you for wanting to go get a Bucky Irving, but yeah, I mean, with the pieces that you've got, dude, I don't think you need to do it. But I mean, if you really want to go get him that badly, talk to the Bucky shareholder first and see if he's even willing to sell him in the first place, because he might be just in love with Bucky, can't wait to bring him back. So at least that's what I would
might
take
honestly too with those 3 quarterbacks. If you're really trying to upgrade a position, I know this is going to sound insane. I might try to trade either Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. Daniel Jones is right there in points per game with those 2 guys. The Colts offense is better than both of those guys. Like, I mean, again, the Bills and Chiefs, very good teams, but their offense is not as good as the Colts. And again, I would probably stand pat just because when you have that, you're going to be golden, even if, something happens. But if you're just trying again, because you say have a weakness at one of your positions, you're going to get a lot more, right? Obviously trading Allen or Lamar, and then you would still have one of those 2 guys plus Daniel Jones rest of the season. So I would consider trading that if you're trying to make an upgrade.
Definitely. So the other question Bronze has, trade Kupp and Godwin for Terry McLaurin. Well, Cooper Kupp is already on waivers for a lot of leagues with the limited volume that he gets in that Seattle offense. And Chris Godwin, we don't even know if he's going to be able to keep up. I can't. Chris Godwin's hurt so often, I don't even know if he's ever going to come back. He's played in 2 games this year, has seen 14 targets, caught 6 of them. I don't know if you're going to be able to trade both of those guys to get back Terry. It's like what I was saying in the first question. I would talk to the Terry shareholder to see if he even wants to sell him, being that, Kupp and Godwin might be seen as an insulting offer.
There's 2 receivers that I would rather try to go pick up than make, that trade. Obviously, if he'll accept it, let's go. But if for some reason he wouldn't, again, Parker Washington with Travis Hunter done for the year is going to be a PPR scam rest of the way. And then the other guy is Jalen McMillan. Like, don't forget, he will be back week 10. A lot of people have completely forgot about Jalen McMillan, but Evans is done. I am with you. I think Godwin may just be washed. This has been now like a long time. It was a very serious injury that he came over. He's already, again, got banged up and missed, a month this season. Like, there's a real opportunity for Jalen McMillan to reestablish himself. And do not forget what he did last year. Like, Jalen McMillan ended the season on fire. That's why people were actually surprised when they took Igbuka, even as talented as a receiver as he was. So if McMillan's out there, like, go get him. I think that he's a great stash if you have a roster spot or needing help at wide receiver.
He is eligible for IR still because he's still on there. Right now, there's no target date for McMillan to return. So if you just happen to have a spare IR slot, McMillan is a good option to have in there if he's able to come back in these double-digit weeks. So when your fantasy playoffs comes around, McMillan could be a sneaky good play, but that remains to be seen as he's still recovering from that neck injury, and he's still wearing a neck brace too, so that, we'll see. Let's move on to literal Dark's comment here. Start Juwan Jennings or Romeo Doubs. I think Jennings is the move here.
Yeah, it was proved, last week. He is going to be their top wide receiver target. Like, even in the games Purcell has played with him, he actually has a higher target share. And Green Bay, I think they figured it out finally. Like, let's just throw it to Tucker Kraft. His 19 targets the last 2 weeks account for 45% of his targets on the season. So I think Green Bay has realized this dude is averaging 11 yards after contact, or excuse me, after the catch, which is the most by any tight end in the last 20 years, by almost 2 yards. That is their number one passing option. And then Dobbs is just going to be kind of a boomer bust. And I always take volume over, a coin toss, basically, whether or not he'll have a good game.
I think Jennings is in a much better position to hit compared to Dobbs, where it's just like what you were saying. The Packers offense relies on the tight end. And even with George Kittle back out there, they got to throw the ball to a wide receiver, and Pearsall ain't playing. So I think it's got to be Jennings as the top wideout with Kendrick Bourne out there too, who won't see as much volume anymore. But that should be easy peasy for the Giants, against the Giants, I mean. Tyler S. Perry, 334. Start one defense and one kicker. Danes, sorry, I don't know what Danes means. Seattle or I don't know what Danes means. I'm sorry. Seattle or Brandon Aubrey or Matt Prater. First of all, there should never be a doubt about Brandon Aubrey. He's an automatic start if you have him on your team.
Jamar Chase or
the Jamar Chase of kickers,
MC or something. Yeah, at this point.
But yeah,
Seattle's a great defense. Like coming off a bye, they're going to have a great plan for Washington. I know it looks like Jaden Daniels is coming back, but who's he going to throw it to, right? Like Debo seems right now like seriously injured to where he's not he doesn't look 100%. And then again, McLaurin has already been ruled out for this week. So I like Seattle's defense not only this week, but they may be a defense rest of the season that's top 5, top 10 in the NFL. Oh, Rams is what it should have said.
Okay.
What do you think there? Because the Rams are a very good defense. They are also coming off of a bye.
So yeah, that's a good point too, because I'm not a big fan of the Seahawks defense. I mean, Tampa Bay just carved them up like crazy. But the Rams are also playing the Saints. The Rams have typically been in like top 3 for a lot of rankings this week.
Making his first start. I'm sorry. I would definitely go with the Rams.
Easily. I think it's easily the Rams for the defense part so Rams and Aubrey, Tyler, fire those two up. Don't even think about it. Those should be easy plays. Let's get to one more by Bronze here. Start one in flex. Kareem Hunt, Kyle Monangai, or Rico Dowdle. I think Dowdle is the easy pick here.
Again, I think I'm going to go Monangai just because of the matchup and the fact that we know he's going to get again, can we trust that Dowdle is actually going to get, say, 80%? Let's just say 80% of the running back opportunities. I think that Monangai is going to get 90% of the running back opportunities this week. Because again, Travis Homer is his backup and the Bengals. I can't keep stressing this enough. They've given up well over 100 yards per game their last 4. We just saw Breece Hall torch them. And I think Ben Johnson is going to try to run the ball with the struggles in their passing game, the last couple of weeks. This is a very winnable game, and the Bears are alive in the playoffs. Like they have a chance to make the playoffs despite all the issues that they have, and they have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, particularly in the run game.
I appreciate that confidence because, I mean, I've seen what Dowdle can do when you give him the lead carries, which is Monangai hasn't shown himself to do anything like that yet, but if he carves up that Bengals defense, I don't know if I can handle it. I'm just gonna be like lying on the floor in bliss the whole weekend.
Packers have been really good versus running backs too. If I'm not mistaken, they're like 2nd or 3rd in fantasy in terms of points per game versus opposing running backs. So I just, again, I think it's just such a better matchup, and he's going to get equal or more volume.
Definitely. Fantasy Football Noob on YouTube asks, is Jacoby Brissett a play? Got CJ Stroud starting because of Hurts's bye week. Jacoby Brissett is not guaranteed to start yet because they want to get Kyler Murray back out there, but Kyler Murray is also still questionable because he had a limited practice with the foot injury. So if Jacoby Brissett is
situation, I forgot, because what are you going to do, right, if they end up starting Kyler, but they don't announce it till Monday, right? That's a Monday night game, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. The Cowboys do play the Cardinals on Monday night. Thank you for reminding me about that too. CJ Stroud is getting more passing volume over the last 2 games, though. So I don't think starting Stroud is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they are going to be. Who the heck are they?
They're playing the Broncos.
That's right. They're playing the Broncos with no Patrick Surtain.
Oh, that's right. So that makes it a little bit more appealing. They're getting Collins back. I will say that if they announce before the Texans play that Brissett is starting, I mean, you want to start any quarterback basically facing the Dallas Cowboys, because, again, they score so many points. They allow so many points. I mean, I still think they're almost giving up 20 points per game just through the air to opposing quarterbacks. And then Brissett has obviously the, added benefit of, the rushing. He gets a lot of carries when you get down in the red zone. I would rather play Brissett if I know he's starting, but I would not risk it under any circumstances if you don't know that by, like, say, Sunday morning.
Yeah, I agree with playing it safe here. I think you should plan on starting Stroud in the meantime, yep. Fantasy Football Noob. Appreciate the question, too. Another one from Literal Dark. Juwan Jennings, Romeo Doubs, Jacoby Myers start 2. I think Jennings and Myers is the move here. I don't trust Dobbs' role in the offense enough to count him over a returning Myers, who definitely doesn't want to play for the Raiders anymore. But if he gets traded to the Rams, that would be something, right? But that would be terrible too. But Jacoby Myers is off the injury report. He is expected to play. But even then, he's a wide receiver. I think he's listed as a wide receiver 3 from a lot of people, which I kind of agree with. And against that Jaguars secondary, which is not very good either. I think that's the move. What do you think, Keith?
I agree. Don't forget too that Travis Hunter is, obviously not going to be there. You could argue that's, the Jags' best cover corner. And don't forget, the one healthy Bowers game this year, Myers had 8 catches for 97 yards. I think that Bowers opens up everything else for the rest of their pass catchers because he's going to take, obviously, a lot of attention. So completely agree with Jennings and Myers.
Definitely. Alex G495 says, love the costumes. Thanks, you, man.
Alex.
I need 2 for the flex in PPR. T. Higgins, Travion Henderson, Rico Dowdle, or Wan'Dale Robinson. I think it's got to go Dowdle and Wan'Dale here. I do not trust T. Higgins, the lack of targets he's been getting, and I do not trust Travion Henderson yet until he proves himself to be a reliable lead back. The Bears are also getting back Tyreek Stevenson in their secondary, which if they put Stevenson on Higgins, that'll be a bit tougher for him compared to our cornerback depth. So I think it's got to be Dowdle and Wan'Dale. What do you think, Keith?
Well, especially, again, I agree with what you were saying about Higgins, but then add to the fact, Flacco's dealing with a shoulder injury. Part of the reason that Higgins is not getting the volume is Flacco is not throwing the ball way down the field. And that is, what most of Higgins' routes are. Like, that's why he always seems to be affected the most when Joe Burrow is not there. Because Chase, Chase can do anything, right? So I'm with you. We're going to find out a lot about Travion Henderson this week because obviously Stevenson is out. I'm very interested to see how many snaps he plays, with no Stevenson to vulture them. But even then, and I don't even want to mention my Falcons after last week, but they are a good run defense, like, overall, and just a good defense in general. Like, we'll see if the Miami game is a sign of things to come with Diallo now, like, injured and not playing. But I think we are going to get Jalen Walker back, which should help a ton for this matchup. And just like right now, the offense runs through Drake May. Of the top 7 offenses in the NFL, New England has by far the highest percentage of their touchdowns coming through the air at almost 70%.
Yep. Wish you the best with that start-sit decision. Alex, let's go to July Y12. Trade Jackson Smith and Jigba for Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to accomplish here. I mean, obviously you want help at running back, but I don't think Jackson Smith and Jigba is a guy that you need to give up because he's probably your top wide receiver, depending on what the rest of your team looks like.
If it's a PPR format, which if it's not, I would be okay with it. If it is, there's no way I'm trading JSN. I said earlier in the show, Sam Darnold was completing almost 80% of his deep passes this year. We see that JSN is on the receiving end of those, and JSN has the highest target share in the NFL. Chase may have overtaken him with just the freaking ridiculous amount of targets he's got since Flacco's been there. But I mean, JSN, I don't believe he's had but one bad game, and that was where they got up huge early and were basically just running the ball. So I love JSN. I think that if anything, we could see him continue to ascend as the season goes on.
Definitely. Let's get to one more here by Literal Dark. Start Dalton Schultz or AJ Barner. I think it's easily AJ Barner because Dalton Schultz is beat up with a knee and shoulder issue, and I would not rely on him this week if he doesn't play. I think you got to go AJ Barner here.
Yeah, I agree. I was trying to see what the latest on Schultz was, but I just, again, not only that, really difficult matchup. Denver is one of the best defenses in the NFL, and I think that game's going to be a rock fight. So where I think Washington, Seattle is going to be a lot more points scored.
Definitely. One more by Literal Dark here. Jalen Warren, Woody Marks, Kyle Monangai, or Kareem Hunt sit one. I think it's got to be Woody Marks here because it's kind of a tougher matchup.
100% agree.
Easily. Fantasy Football Noob also has fair enough. What about Rome Odunze or Brian Thomas Jr. in the flex? Odunze easily.
We saw him get back to his, I know it was concerning, like the target rate that he was seeing for a couple of weeks there. He jumped right back up to almost that 30% number last week. So I think that's, they realize one of the reasons our offense was struggling is because we're not throwing it to by far our best receiver. So, and again, great matchup this week versus just an offense that they just gave up 500 yards to the Jets.
Yes. All right. One more question, and then we got to get out of here for some Halloween tricks and treats. Daniel Quintanilla, 7626. Hey, I lost Neighbors and Tyreek, so I need a wide receiver one.
Man. I've been there.
In a PPR league, would you trade Kittle and Ladd for Rashee Rice or CeeDee Lamb? Different managers. I have Cortland Sutton, Juwan Jennings, Terry McLaurin, Ashton Genty, Kyron Williams, Woody Marks, Oronde Gadsden, Trey Benson, and Bo Nix. I think you still got to go CD over Rashee, as much as weird as that might sound, because Rashee Rice does have his explosive games. But Daniel, that's the thing, is that Kittle and Ladd may not be a package that both guys are looking for. So if you're interested in Rashee and CD, definitely talk to both of them, see what they want, and then that's going to make your decision a lot easier. But if you have to preference one over the other, I think you got to go CD over Rashee.
I actually like Rashee Rice rest of the season over Lamb. I mean, he's been wide receiver one in the 2 games he's played, seeing 31% of Mahomes' first read targets, 26% target share. And this is following a theme from the 3 games at the beginning of last year and the way that Rice finished the end of last season. I just think the Cowboys have so many other elite good options. Because again, Pickens has continued to see over a 20% target share. We know how good Ferguson has been. I think Rashee Rice is the real deal, and Mahomes loves him. I actually saw that his EPA per drop back for his career is 0.41 when targeting Rashee Rice. I know this just because we did a part of our stats you need to know last week. In the first start against the Raiders, that Rice came back. Mahomes, I think it was 0.34 EPA per drop back for the game. That was the 9th highest of his entire career. And again, when he targets Rice, it's even better than that. But either way, yes, I would be happy to, especially because you have Gadsden, who is, I think, probably a top 5 tight end rest of the season.
Yeah, what's hurting CD is that he's not falling in the end zone as much as Rashee Rice is, which we don't count on touchdowns happening for everybody every week because they're so fluid, but that's what's been helping Rashee Rice, and he's the go-to guy for Patrick Mahomes. So you can absolutely make a case for either. But like I said, talk to both managers, see which one is for sale for the guys that you want to offer. We're going to start to wrap
Ladd
things.
is going to be a good option the rest of the season. Like
He's
following exactly what he did last year. Very slow start, and it is kind of ascending, and we're seeing QJ. I don't know what's going on with QJ, but also he's just not involved.
Bricks for hands. We're going to start to wrap things up here, ladies, gents, and all those in between or outside of it. But before we do, that's not the right graphic. This is the right graphic. Unlock your fantasy advantage with tools.optimusfantasy.com. On our website, we have some incredible tools that we are getting out there, not even just for your league management, but also for betting, DFS, professional analysis with Snap Analyzer, empty air yards. We've got a trade analyzer. You can run reports, an ADP tracker. We have a big amount of tools on our website that you don't want to miss out on. So this is something that you definitely want to go get right now as we're releasing more and more out there. And the lineup optimizer is also brand new as well for those of you who are into DFS lineup building, whether it's DraftKings, and we're gonna get more platforms on there as well. You can also get 25% off your first 4 months with us using the promo code OptimusFall. You don't want to miss out on this today, everybody. So please subscribe to Optimus Fantasy Tools when you get the chance on OptimusFantasy.com. You'll find the tools at the top. Easy to find. We definitely hope to see you there. So, on behalf of the show, Keith, this has been a great show. Happy
Evan,
Halloween, everybody. We wish you all the best luck for your Week 9 matchups. If we did not get to your question in the chat, we have the Discord server, which is in the description of this video below. The logo is below Keith down there, so be sure to check that out as well if for any other questions you all might have. Happy Halloween, everybody. Make sure there's no ghost to catch. We'll see you all soon. Take care.